Making an automatic water change system can seem complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Today, I'll show you 3 DIY tricks that make the whole process much easier. So if automatic water changes sound interesting to you, let's get right to it. A while back, I showed you a completely automatic water change system that uses a slow drip throughout the day. By the end of the week, it replaces about 50% of the water, although you can set it to 25% or whatever amount you're comfortable with. The biggest challenge with that system was getting the old water out of the aquarium. There are quite a few ways you can do it, but not everyone wants to drill a hole in their aquarium. And if you've ever looked at overflow systems before, you know they can get really expensive. The good news is that once you understand how they work, building one yourself is very simple. So I built one using 2 small cup holders, 1 larger container, a piece of filter hose, an elbow barb, and a bulkhead. Let's start with the cup that goes inside the aquarium. Near the top, you'll cut an opening for the water to flow into. The shape doesn't really matter, what matters is the height. That opening sets the maximum water level of your aquarium. The moment the water rises above it, it flows into the cup. The second cup sits outside the aquarium and connects to the first one with a piece of filter hose that's completely full of water. Once those 2 cups are connected, the water behaves as if they are one single container, so they are always trying to stay at the same water level. As water enters the inside cup, the water in the outside cup rises to match it, but before it reaches the same height, it spills through this notch that I cut into the side. That notch needs to be just a little lower than the opening on the inside cup. The water then falls into the larger container where it drains away through a hose. That's the entire overflow. As long as water keeps entering the aquarium, the cycle keeps repeating. And it doesn't keep siphoning your tank because once the water in the aquarium drops back below the opening, no more water enters the inside cup. The 2 cups finish equalizing, and once they are at the same level, the water stops moving. The siphon is still full of water, it's just waiting for the water level to rise again. Once you understand this principle, you can build it with different containers, different materials. You can even route the drain anywhere you want. The important part isn't copying this design, it's understanding why it works. Now, even though these kinds of overflows are awesome, they do have a few downsides. So next, let's go over what they are and something else you can do for an overflow and how to do it properly. If you are enjoying the video, remember to like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and get to more people who love this hobby. So what are the downsides to this kind of overflow? First of all, it is a little bulky, especially on smaller aquariums. You also have to make sure the intake doesn't get clogged with leaves or debris, and that the siphon tube always stays full of water. Those are all things you can work around, but they are still worth keeping in mind. That's why, if you don't mind modifying your aquarium, drilling a hole can be a very good idea. I know that probably doesn't sound very appealing at first, but if you're using a standard aquarium that isn't expensive, it's actually easier than most people think. Just make sure your aquarium isn't made with tempered glass, because tempered glass cannot be drilled and it will shatter. This outflow system is the one I'm using for all the tanks I have outside. Instead of building a large overflow box for every tank, I drill each one and install a bulkhead. To do that, I bought a diamond hole saw that matches the size of my bulkhead. Most of these bits come with a pilot bit in the center that's supposed to help you start the hole. I followed those instructions and I still cracked a few aquariums until I noticed the pilot bit was the problem. So instead of using the pilot bit, I made a template out of corrugated plastic with the hole exactly where I wanted it. I clamped the template onto the aquarium and used it as a guide. That let me start the diamond hole saw without using the pilot bit. I also kept dipping the bed in water while drilling to keep it cool. Once I started doing that, the whole process was very smooth. If drilling your aquarium isn't something you're comfortable with, that's completely fine. The overflow we built earlier works great. But if you're building a dedicated water change system and you're using a standard, non-tempered aquarium, drilling can be a cleaner and more reliable solution. Now that we spent plenty of time talking about getting water out of the aquarium, let's talk about one of my favorite little tools for getting fresh water back in. But before we do that, are you tired of having to do a water change every time you clean your substrate? Well, this little vacuum lets you clean your aquarium without removing any water. Yes, you heard me right. Clean without removing water. I hated using hoses or gravel cleaners to clean my substrate because I would always run out of water before I was done, especially in my nano tanks. That's why I made this little vacuum. You can take as long as you like and your water level won't drop an inch. And people love it. Go to underwatergardens.shop to grab yours now. One of my favorite tools for DIY projects are solenoid valves. I've used them in all kinds of aquarium projects over the years. One of my first automatic water change systems was built almost entirely around them. Solenoid valves control the water going in and the water going out. Flow switches and timers handle the rest. The whole system automatically drained about half the aquarium, then filled it right back up. It even worked on 2 aquariums with completely different sizes. I don't use that exact system anymore. Today, I'm using something much simpler. I switched to a small solenoid valve that's made for RO tubing. It's connected to a timer that turns on a few times throughout the day. Each time it opens, a little fresh water enters the aquariums. By the end of the week, it adds up to about a 50% water change. That's the system I'm using on all the aquariums outside. The reason I wanted to show you this is because solenoid valves are incredibly useful little tools. Once you start automating aquarium projects, you'll probably find yourself using them for all kinds of things. Soon, I'll make a complete step-by-step video showing you exactly how I built my automatic water change system. I'll cover everything from draining the aquarium to filling it back up and show you exactly how I put the whole system together. But I wanted to introduce you to the idea today because this might already be enough for some of you guys to build your own version. If you've built any DIY aquarium projects of your own, I'd love to hear about them in the comments below. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.